Hi again, Michael Sipe of the Strategic Advisor Board and owner of Sipe Coaching and Consulting. On today's episode of Empowered Leadership, we're going to be talking about how leaders can get feedback from their employees. Now, maybe you're the kind of person who's a business owner, CEO, division manager, and you've been told that you need to get more feedback from your employees. Well, how can you go about doing that? Part of it is we have a tendency to be one way in our communication when we are in a management role. And if we're specifically in a position of authority, people will withhold information, ideas, and concerns from us because we're in that position of authority and they don't necessarily want to speak up. So what we have to do is create an environment where people want to speak up. And the great thing here is I'm going to give you a few ways of how you can do that yourself. Create that environment where people are willing to give that valuable information. So number one, get feedback and ideas regularly. And what that means is we want to be able to ask for help and say to somebody like, hey, help me see my blind spots and tell me if I'm missing something. So that's one way of getting that tone set early on. And then you can ask people to actually disagree with you if something seems off base. Now, this is one technique that's also very helpful is when you ask your team for help with ideas, you're opening up in a collaborative kind of environment. And this is where we're going to exchange information rather than tell people information. This is a classic example of energy level 5, that collaborative energy level of their thoughts, emotions, and actions. So when somebody actually shares information, we want to publicly acknowledge them and thank them for their ideas, especially the ones that disagree, because we want to be consistent. We want to be aware that, hey, when somebody disagrees with us, and maybe it's not the person we like that much, we still need to be consistent in saying thanks for sharing that information. Okay, another tone aspect of being that leader that gets feedback is we're curious and actively listening. So let's not interrupt. We don't want to interrupt people when they're talking. They're thinking through their ideas and they want to get heard, which is great. Let them be heard, okay? And acknowledge their point of view, meaning, yeah, it may not be exactly something we've thought of, but we want to acknowledge that point of view. It's very important that that is something that we do with them. All right, and then you can say things like, tell me more, or what led you to make that decision? If their conclusion is logical, then validate their thought process. It's important to do that validation piece because then people feel like, oh, wow, that person's really listening to me. Another thing is go last. Give the opportunity for others to speak up, gather all that information, maybe ask some empowering questions, share your observations and opinion at the end, though. That's where we want to get all the information first and then share our opinions and observations at the end, and then maybe collectively vote on, hey, is this the right way we want to go? And then another trait is to answer with yes and. Neuroscience shows that everybody subconsciously reacts adversely to when somebody says no. It's an inherent mechanism we have. So if we're saying no all the time to our employees, that's not going to go over as well as if we say yes. And tell me more about that. Or what do you think would happen to productivity if we apply your method there? And then lastly, actions speak louder than words. Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. Show that you're a collaborative environment and your behavior mimics what you want out of your employees as well. All right, those are some tips on how you can get feedback from your employees when you're in a leadership position. If you like this topic and want to hear more about it, please click the like button below. And lastly, if you have any questions or comments, please put that in the comment section below. All right, thanks for watching Empowered Leadership and hope you have a great day. Bye.